Thank you. As we've been reporting for a while now, and you probably know, someone or yourself, this year's flu season is one of the strongest in years. The CDC estimates more than 15 million cases so far this year alone. But among the rise in cases, there is one glimmer of hope: the flu shot might be a little stronger than previously thought. Our health expert, Dr. is here to talk about that with us. I know that every year the flu comes around, and I've heard people say, I've said it myself, I'm not going to get the flu shot this year because it's never good enough to protect everybody from everything. But this year specifically.
Well, this year, it's kind of funny. We didn't expect it to be good because this new variant, the super flu, the subclade K variant, H3N2, came out after the flu shot had already gone into production. Ooh. So we said, okay, we missed the boat. It's probably not going to be very good. But UPenn just did a series of studies that shows us that, in fact, it is offering really good protection. So every year, most flu shots have protection against flu A and flu B. So this year's shot has 2 strains of flu A and 1 of flu B. And one of the 2 strains of flu A is the parent from which this super flu, the subclade K variant, descended. So they give these people the flu shot and counted their antibodies before and after, and they went from 11% to 39%. So 4-fold increase in antibodies against this variant. So if you haven't gotten the flu shot so far this year, I know it sounds like a broken record, but it's not too late to get it because that flu is really, really severe.
It's as you've seen it, I mean, it's leading newscasts on national level too. It's everywhere in the country. ERs are filled. So it's pretty effective. Does this also mean if you do get sick, you're not going to be as sick as somebody that hasn't had the vaccine?
100%. In fact, there is a 50 to 65% reduction in risk of hospitalization, risk of ICU admission, and risk of death, particularly in the highest risk populations. Now, what's interesting this year is normally we say, oh, the younger and the older are the highest risk, right? This year, we're also seeing the young, healthy people being high risk. And part of that is because they haven't been immunized for the past few years. And so their immune system's gotten a little lazy and has not seen the parent of this H3N2, the super flu subclade K variant. So they don't have any antibodies at all. So we're seeing a fair number of young, healthy people also ending up in intensive care. So as you said, Kim, even if it's not going to prevent infection, which is not what we're looking to do, it's going to prevent you from getting really sick.
Yeah, and it's not just about that too. There is a correlation between the flu and heart disease?
Yes, as a cardiologist, I love this. I love telling my patients this. So if you have heart disease and you get the flu, you're more likely to die or get sick. But the opposite is also true. If you have heart disease and you get the flu shot, you're less likely to have a heart attack, a stroke, or have a cardiovascular complication, including heart failure. So we really do recommend it. It's in the American Heart Association guidelines for every person, obviously who has pre-existing heart disease, but even those that don't and those that have cancer to get it. And the more people that get it, I like to say it's sort of like a little deposit in your immune system's savings bank. Because, for example, the people who got the flu shot last year, they're having better protection against the subclade K variant because it descended from the H3N2.
So your body is taking on that. So what's the season? Because that's the other thing I always wonder is usually we talk about it around November. I know it was an earlier start here.
Yes.
Prior to the holidays. When does it kind of die off?
So this year, because it's more aggressive, it's an earlier start, a bigger peak, and a longer tail.
Oh.
So it's going to be worse than
I thought it was going to be over like in 2 weeks.
You don't get any relief.
In fact, it's spreading more and more and more because the more it spreads, the more it mutates. And so I like to call the flu the shapeshifter virus because it mutates so efficiently. So it's almost like recognizing somebody with a different hairstyle, different clothes, different everything. Every week it changes the way that it looks. So because of that, we're expecting to see a much longer tail, which is why we're saying people should still
go get the shot.
Vaccinated.
I feel like it's always a good idea, and this is the last the question we have time for, but if you didn't get whether you got it or not, you say go get the flu shot, that's your advice. What can people do if and when they get it to lessen the effects, and when do they need to go to the hospital?
Such a great question. So the minute you feel any respiratory symptoms, don't just guess, don't just say I'm under the weather. Yeah. Get one of those over-the-counter tests from Walgreens or CVS or King Soopers or something. Swab yourself for both COVID and flu, because within those first 48 hours, you can either get started on Paxlovid if you have COVID or on Tamiflu if you have flu, and that reduces the duration of symptoms, reduces how infectious you are to others, and reduces the risk of complications. And then, of course, the usual stuff of staying in bed and keeping yourself isolated. They are working on a better flu shot for next year. It's called a modified RNA flu shot, so I'm hoping that one's a little more effective. But
okay.
All right.
All good ideas.
Dr. Kohli, thanks so much.
A long season. I'm looking forward to that.
Bigger peak, longer season.
Thank you, Dr. Kohli.